Destruction is chaos, is entropy, is energy, is power, is victory. To antidote or not to antidote? That is the question. Time to feel like a god and kill. Call me when he's dead. We talk Roswell, New Mexico, season 1, episode 12, Creep. The AfterBuzz After Show starts right now.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
That was powerful.
You know what's powerful is these aliens. They're a lot more powerful than people are giving them credit for. We need to realize that. Are they a danger to us on Earth or not? I don't know. That's what we try to find out as we're talking all things Roswell, New Mexico, season 1, episode 12. We only have one more episode left. This is we're leading up to the season finale.
I'm sad about that. I'm gonna miss all of you out there.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna miss this show as we've grown to love it. Creep. This episode was really, actually, truly creepy. In the tradition, we get one of those 90s songs again. Of course, this one, Radiohead's "Creep." I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. So it was just a lot going on. And we're going to talk about so much. I'm not alone. I am your host, but I'm joined by a wonderful panel. So the host, Tehran, is joined by, all the way to my left, Mr. George Corey is in the building.
Mr. George Corey's here along with his new best friend.
That's right, the Jim Alexander.
That's right, that would be me. Thank you, best friend, for that proper introduction.
The BFFs are sitting on one side, as it should be, as you guys side by side.
That's how we started, right?
I feel a lot of Alex and Michael vibe between you two. Like you guys are like, friends, right? It's the friends. And here's the thing. We're going to talk about that friendship. We're going to talk about that friendship. We're going to talk about Noah's story. We're going to talk about Caulfield, this prison that we found ourselves in. Flint, we get this introduction to this new character, Flint, who we kind of knew about but didn't really. Isabel's heart-to-heart. Kyle's back. That should have made you happy, Jim Alexander. Cam's sacrifice, Mommy Dearest, and so much more. We have some news and gossip, and we're going to play our favorite game, Who You, when we pick a scene that represents us. So much to talk about. Let's start with overall thoughts of this episode. Once again, season 1, episode 12 of Roswell, New Mexico, Creep. George, overall thoughts.
Tehran, my overall thoughts are that there was some masterful acting happening with the cast in this episode. They all fully embraced their characters, killed it on screen, and it was totally enjoyable to watch.
I cannot disagree. The acting was superb.
Not masterful, though.
Let's
not go there. That was good, though. I felt like this episode was finally subtle. It slowed down. Like I've been saying, all these episodes have been so quick and kind of almost cartoony-ish in a lot of ways. I felt this one is very grounded, and the acting was really good, and I felt there was a lot of good, subtle moments in this. It's the first episode in a while I felt that things really slowed down, and it worked, because we got like a lot of different connections, a lot of things being exposed.
Well, we do get a lot of origin story, and we're going to definitely talk about Noah's origin story, or at least his version of what happened. It's a very interesting dynamic that's happening right now. We definitely have a shift. I found myself wanting to know so much more. I really liked this episode. It had a lot of information. I did find it at times, there were things that were just literary devices. I mean, Mom puts her hand up on the glass, then Michael puts his hand up, and then they feel each other, and he automatically knows. She could have done that 28 minutes before that happened. She could have done it before the self-destruct button and would have actually prevented the self-destruction from happening. But we got a lot of backstory that we've deserved, to be honest. We've deserved this story. So it's nice to know that we are getting what we deserve in this storyline. I'm hoping to get so much more. We get the story from the version of Noah. Sounds almost biblical if you think about it. We get this Noah's version of what happened, and we hear this alien crash in 47. Noah is awakened. We hear for the first time that there's different classes of aliens, that Michael and Isabel and Max, and it's fun to know his name is Maximo. Maximo, that stood out. They were part of this elite class.
They're the upper echelon.
Yeah, they're
aliens.
upper echelon of the aliens. So we get this Noah story. What did you think about the Noah story, Jim?
I liked it. I think that was the whole purpose. Now that's what we were setting up for. Now that they expose Noah as an alien, we get to see the truth, because he's got the most information of anyone. He's been around the longest. He remembers the most of anyone. I thought it was really well done how they let it out. You know, they kind of had him interrogated, but he gave him enough information to this point to tie up a lot of clues. And first time I finally felt that I wish we had this earlier. This whole Rosa thing could have been ended a few episodes before it was, because I wish we got more of this. Now we get the finale, and there's
But
too
that's
many.
why it's a cliffhanger.
It is a cliffhanger.
It makes you want a season 2,
Yeah.
which we still don't know if we've gotten, George.
I hope that season 2's coming. The story with Noah's narration, it made me finally understand where he was coming from and almost empathize with him up until the point of Isabel being 14. Then I was like, okay, he's just a villain. Last episode, I ended it despising Noah, despising him. I felt lied to. I felt disgusted in what he did. And then hearing his story of watching his fellow aliens being slaughtered made me understand his motive in terms of destructing the humans. Later in the episode, we found out more about that, which we'll get into. But hearing the story from Noah's perspective, I believe, finally gave us that alien insight that we need. And what's unique about it is the rest of the aliens that we know of or we've seen on screen don't recall that. So it's unique that we got that exclusive insight, and I appreciate it.
We did get a exclusive insight from Noah's perspective. Once again, here are the facts that we know now. War-torn planet,
Yes.
they leave. Very Alien Nation vibe to me, by the way. I don't know if you guys are
yeah,
familiar with
good call,
Alien
good
Nation,
call.
but that was a very similar situation, especially with the hierarchies of the aliens. That was also something
Mm-hmm.
that played before, and it's a very interesting concept, except in this one, the aliens are never exposed or not exposed to the general public. Number 2, we also get the story that they are sent here to destroy. They are killers. They are war machines. I don't know how you felt about all that
That's
information.
That's the part that went over my head a little bit because I don't sense that from Max, Isabel, and Michael. It seems like they just want to be good citizens for the most part. And I thought that if they were here on that mission, wouldn't it be innate in them if they were truly this malicious species out here to destroy? On the other side of the coin, Noah was older or more present. That's also a disconnect I'm trying to reconcile. His pod broke. They were preserved more from aging. Are they the same age as Noah? I'm a little confused on that end. But yeah, if that's the overall mission, can we really be mad at Noah for killing the people he's killing?
Well, here's the thing, too. Like, I feel they're victims in the sense that they've been portrayed on the show because they're here. We see them locked up. You know, we haven't really seen them cause any destruction on the show. So we're just hearing stories of what they were supposed to do or what their mission was. But the thing that we've been exposed to is them basically in captivity, weakened, kind of destroyed, feeble, you know, on their last, really their type has been almost exterminated. So we have Noah, really the one that kind of might have that sense of evil in him, but everyone else, I mean, it's hard to find them, you know, press blame on him.
I mean, when it comes to Noah's story, does it make him more empathetic? It gives me a backstory. I don't know if it specifically makes him more empathetic. Are we afraid of vampires even though they need to kill to stay alive? I mean, of course, we're burning them at the stake, right? We're driving stakes through their hearts. So the concept is, regardless, he is a killer, and even if he's killing for self-preservation, that's a personal, selfish choice. You're taking the life of one human entity for another, and especially coming from you, George, Mr. Vegan. I don't know how you really reconcile that in your own sympathetic mind. It's a very interesting dynamic once again when it comes to Noah. Noah's backstory doesn't give us a full amount of information. I'm assuming we get more in the season finale, and it's what's leading and its only leverage when it comes to the antidote. It also makes me think, what is this leverage that he's speaking of? He says that he kept them alive, meaning they, Max, Isabel, and Michael, for leverage. What is that? What is that leverage?
Teron, my assumption on the leverage is simply that he needs them. They do have superpowers. They are an alliance, potentially, if he gets them on their side. And if there is, in fact, this war, alien versus human war, Noah's going to die if he fights it alone. He needs the people around him. They have these forces, especially seeing that military base and seeing the aliens in
Captivity.
in captivity. Thank you for that. Seeing them in captivity shows that the humans may have resources or tools to contain them. You know, the government had the tools, the military had the tools, and maybe Noah has insight on that, and he's seeing, hey, they're out to destroy all of us. We need to protect ourselves, and I need you as a leverage here. He could also be speaking on the fact that they do have some healthy human relationships, and maybe he could snake his way through using those positive vibes that the rest of the aliens have with the human community, and that's probably what he is speaking on.
No, I agree. He needs leverage because that they are his leverage. Who else does he have? He can't fight this war by himself. They have powers. He probably knows more about their powers in a sense than they fully understand them, in a way. So I definitely think that he needs them around because without them, he's really nothing, right? And there's even psychologically, he's still, even they might be feuding or not, he still needs his people, there, because if they're gone, then he's got nothing, literally.
Good
and maybe
point,
that's
Jim.
maybe that's holding him back from going complete destruction mode too.
Yeah.
That maybe the good side of Noah, whatever that is there because they're still around.
You're right, and Max alluded to it when Noah's in the chair. He said you're going to leave the same way you came here, lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Noah's feeling lonely and he needs some friends.
Okay, that'd be nice, except I think the leverage has to do with the hierarchy. This is, Noah specifically says, I was amongst the peasants. You're part of this upper echelon. If they come back, then he wants leverage to join that group or be a part of it. There has to be a lot more to it. The term leverage has nothing to do with loneliness. If it was just, hey, I didn't want to be the only alien left, then he would have made himself known. Actually, he kept it a secret for a reason, and that reason wasn't just to kill. He could have killed unsurreptitiously if he had just decided to do so. No, he decided to keep it a secret because he knows that there's a reckoning coming, that there are more, there are masses, there are people who rule them in some way, possibly, and that they are the ones with the most powers, and he wanted to be able to justify his staying alive. His pod was not constructed as effectively as the others, and there is a reason for that. That sounds like the hierarchy that we get here. Even in this episode, we get a lot of the high school is in the past, and the government conspiracy is to the right. And the high school is to the left, and now we're looking at the right. I mean, they've always shown a lot of social commentary, and the aliens themselves are not above it.
This is getting complicated.
I mean, there's just a lot more to it. I just feel like leverage is a specific usage of a term to use, and it just be like, I wanted to use you for leverage because I'm lonely. No, it's leverage.
I mean, I think could be all of those above and more even that we don't know about. I think there's certainly not one thing. I think this show's demonstrated there's never one reason for something. I think with all the characters, there's multiple reasons always for what they do.
I'm just going with the multiple reason was a hidden agenda and ulterior motive that he had specifically pertaining to the other aliens, and I think we get that in the next story. Noah's backstory also, it was a little full of loopholes when it comes to the pod and him being in the pod and not in the pod, and then he's put back in the pod. Where'd they get enough silver to put him in the pod? We're not sure.
We didn't see that part.
Exactly.
Who gave him the silver bath?
No, because the last time it was just definitely used for a cinematic instrument. It was definitely a device that they used to cover Isabel in the silver, and it made a very cool scene. But remember, it also creates a mythology now. Now I need silver to place you, and silver, even though it's less expensive than gold, is not cheap. So where did they get the silver, and where did they melt it on him and push him in there? What happened to the silver when he's coming out because they had to wipe it off Isabel? I mean, there was a lot for me there. Other than that, I want to know more about Noah's backstory. I want to get to the nitty gritty of it all. I don't know. Are you giving him the antidote or not? George?
As a curious viewer of the show, I'm giving him the antidote because I want to hear more. But I don't think this is a good idea. Max's instinct is right. Do not give it to him. This guy has proven to be lethal. He's been proven to be dangerous to both the aliens and the humans. Eliminate him because he's only going to cause more problems.
Jim?
You have to. You need the answers, right? They've been around for so long with no answers. Now it's like they're dangling the carrot, right? You need the answers right in front of them. It would just be too easy to just off him, and then what? If questions arise, or if there's a situation, another alien arises, he's kind of their lifeline to a lot of these things. A situation that might still come up. So you keep him alive. I don't think that's really a debate.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I give him the antidote or not. I have to agree with both of you. On one hand, he's too dangerous. On the other hand, he's the only one that has answers, and we need those even more. So it's a matter of need. I'll tell you who has all the answers. I feel like we here at AfterBuzz have a lot of the answers for you to check out. Make sure to check out all our after shows here. We do a variety of all the shows that you love because we love them too. We want to thank you all for being the ESPN of TV talk. But we do need your help, Jim. Let them know.
Yeah, anytime you check us out on that YouTube channel, subscribe to us. I know we have one more episode left, so make sure you're part of the conversation and comment. We love reading the comments because you guys have a lot of great theories out there, things that we always look back on and like, well, we didn't think about that or we didn't know. So we love hearing your opinions. Make sure you comment and we interact with all of you guys. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating and comment there also. So keep on interacting, subscribe, stay with the show. The show might be ending, but we're still around and we're doing a lot of different shows.
That's how it works. So make sure to tell your friends to tell their friends. Here we are each and every week covering your favorite shows. Now, one of my favorite parts of this show was the Caulfield prison scene where they go to this underground, not technically underground, but kind of underground, just alien prison. It was this secret off-the-grid prison
Very cool scene.
that Alex finds out about and goes there. And this prison is in the middle of the desert. Yep. They take a Hummer, which means they only got 3 miles per gallon. I don't know how they made it. But they get there and it's some heat signatures. It wasn't exactly explained. There are heat signatures that are alien possibly. And they go there and find this prison. What were your thoughts, Jim?
They had the roadmap, right? Kyle had his father's clues to guide him along. I thought it was well done. I liked how they set it up, and I like how they paired Michael and Kyle together because they were butting heads. They weren't really, there for each other, but yet they were working together to figure this out and go in. And then I felt like they were part of a big moment together with the reveal of the aliens, and they really bonded and covered for each other.
We got a little bit of jealousy, I felt, from Alex
about that.
Kyle.
Yep.
Oh, so you guys are just going to hang out and go into the back and do all the things that we used to do, but without me?
Yeah.
There was a little bit of jealous. What were your thoughts, George?
I loved the scene. It finally showed what Maines was working on all along. I thought it was just a computer system or some myth and he was a one-man show, but seeing the magnitude of what he was covering up and seeing their capacity to hold these aliens was very impressive. It made me think of the Pentagon almost. What's going on in the Pentagon? Are there aliens in the Pentagon? I don't know, but these thoughts were flowing through my mind only because it was so well executed. And it was this grandesque scene where we saw everything, as Jim mentioned, the setup, we saw it all come together. Brilliantly done. Only part I wish is that Alex popped off on Flint when he grabbed the gun. I really thought he was going to shoot, and I was like, whoa, this is going to be awesome. He didn't. Kind of glad we didn't have to see the violence, but also impressively the way the whole compound exploded.
I know that thing went up quick.
I kind of had hope for these older people sitting in those cells for all these years, and I hope that they'd be free. And seeing that it blew up added a great shock value to the show.
So, do you think all the aliens are dead?
I do believe they're dead.
All of them, or just the ones that were in the building?
No, I'm talking about the ones in the building. Are they all dead?
First, I want to give credit to Tehran, who kept saying over and over, there's more aliens, there's more aliens, there's more aliens.
Yeah.
We saw the more aliens. I do think they died.
I still think there are more aliens, by the way, but go on.
It was a huge explosion. I think no one survived.
I agree. I think they died, but there's more on the outside.
I'm not so sure that they all died. I could see.
Did someone die, you think, that we didn't see in that enclosure, or one of the ones that we kind of saw, maybe Michael's mom?
No. A side alien there. See, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Assuming that we saw something at Caulfield, what we saw was Michael was unable to use his powers at least properly at any moment with the metals that they were using there, meaning that the government had already detected that the aliens have powers and that we need to contain them. To the point that N38, who now we find out is Kyle's father's technically killer because of his radioactive powers. We see a situation where Michael can't use his powers, but if the building goes up and there's an explosion, there's a split second between explosion and being contained. What stops them from using their powers at that time? What stops an alien from being a force field alien or doing anything of that nature? We are not sure of that.
If there is one alien who survived that, it was definitely the alien they alluded to, where it was when they put animals in there, they grew cancer.
Sure, N38. Sure,
Yeah.
N38 could have survived.
So that was N38.
N38, exactly. So was it just a device to learn about Kyle's dad's death, or was there more to it? I mean, here we know that Michael can push things away and that aliens all have different abilities for whatever reason, and we're going to get into that because I don't know if their abilities to destroy or create, they seem to always be so similar. However, in this situation, we have aliens who might be able to create a force field, aliens who might be able to teleport, aliens. Now that the enclosure's gone, what stops or prevents those aliens from doing whatever they need to do in order to survive? I don't think that we were introduced to roughly 50 aliens just to see all 50 perish within, after us only basically seeing 2 of them.
Yeah, and if they survived all that time in those cells, they're super tough.
Yeah, something like 71 years, and then here we go. So I just feel like maybe there's more to the story. Caulfield didn't go up to spoke, and I was actually...
And we didn't see anything, right? We just saw a blown up building. You don't...
underwhelmed by their explosion, by the way, personally. I felt like the explosion could have been a little more obliterating.
Visually it hit. Yeah, I think visually it was startling, but we didn't see much. We didn't see the inside of it. We just saw an outside look of it.
When it says this is going to self-destruct, I was expecting one of those Star Wars explosions, and then you see the wave. And that's actually the explosions, them hiding behind that Jeep. A lot of people think if there's an explosion, I just run far enough. The waves actually carry, but whatever. It's still television.
Right, the proximity threw it off a little bit.
Yeah, it should have been a lot more powerful of a... They ran out within 30 seconds of this big jail. They got out. Timing works out. Well, somehow, while Kyle was right next to the door, Alex and Michael caught up to him, and they all ran out together.
Yeah.
Cinematically, we could have used more depth of field.
Or just some writing, some explanation. I waited. Guys, I waited to the last second to make sure you got out with me. Something. We got a lot of that between Michael and Alex. So that's the thing. Caulfield was a little more. It was a little underwhelming about the security as well. If we have this top secret alien facility, it's not, I'm the new lab tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. That was too easy to get away with.
Yeah, and between Flint and the other soldier, those were the only 2 people who were there. That's all
we kind of, at least who we saw, but the concept is, hey, I'm the new lab tech. Did another guy go in there? Yup, one time. And
Why
I'm
would you
not
give
old
away
enough
all
to
the
know that,
secrets,
but I
right.
somehow know it.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things where it's just also very convenient, but I guess
But Kyle's super good looking. That charm may have worked.
That might have worked. And Kyle is back. How'd you feel about that, George?
I was happy for Jim that Kyle was back. I didn't like the moment where he was almost getting back in with Liz, because out of protection from our boy Max. So when he said the closure line that he used,
that was a great
I've been
line.
looking for closure too. And then he goes from like looking for closure to literally asking her on a date to the gravesite, and she agreed very easily.
Hey, he still got the power of seduction in that way. But no, I think it was good to have him back. I think he's important. We missed him last episode. It was kind of noticeable. He's that kind of calming force where everything's chaotic. He seems the most stable of them all because he doesn't have as much at stake maybe a lot of times too, but I feel like he adds this kind of sensibility and calm to everyone around him and this sort of investigative part, I guess, that he's developed,
yes,
too.
Jim, great depth to the storyline with his connection to his father and all the evidence, so he's imperative.
He's definitely an imperative to the storyline. I would have liked to have gotten an apology out of him. Had he turned and been like Alex and Michael, especially when Michael brings it up, Kyle should have been like, look, I was a kid, I was stupid, I was battling with my own demons, I'm so sorry.
Yep.
That bit of writing would have added more to my
sincerity,
empathetic nature to Kyle. Kyle, I haven't forgiven you for your actions. I saw them personally. You've created a lot of riff, and you've also just been a jerk. So I would have liked to have seen that. We got the closure line. I would have liked the apology from Kyle, and then it could have been like, hey, everything's kind of better at least.
It was an opportunity, right? And it could have easily been put in there too. I agree.
It could have been added in. Other than that, Kyle's return is actually one that's actually fundamental to this scene, simply because we get this parental visit. We get the understanding of Kyle's dad and who who he is. And also, he feels betrayed by his dad. That was a strong emotional confrontation where he conflicted with, I love my dad, but if he was part of this where we basically, this internment camp of aliens, regardless, it's
he deserved it. Didn't he
But
say he deserved
he
it?
used
Right.
a line, he deserved it, which was
Yeah,
very
that was strong.
But it also showed that Kyle, although he has made these mistakes in the past, does have some form of a moral sense.
Well, we'll see. We'll see more about Kyle. What did you guys think about Flint? Here we get a glimpse of a brother that I think we got a touch on, but we never actually fully fleshed out. And all of a sudden, he's his brother, and his brother is a soldier, and why his? I mean, specifically Alex's brother Flint, who's
Anticlimactic.
in
kind
charge of this. It was a bit
Yeah,
anticlimactic.
it could have been more. I mean, this is his brother. We haven't seen him all year. He's the only kind of link between Sergeant Maines and Alex. And he's kind of in a throwaway scene, just basically, I don't know, trying to bully Alex a bit. And then I thought there'd be more to him and there'd be more sort of, I mean, you saw the disconnect between them, but I thought it would be a more relevant appearance. They could have used him in a bigger form, even going forward. I just thought it was a throwaway in a lot of ways.
If the writers were trying to portray that Flint himself was conflicted towards his feelings for his brother, they did it very well. And I would read the anticlimactic part as the tension of him knowing and not knowing his brother, and knowing or not knowing if he indeed loves his brother. He mentioned protecting his brother. He also mentioned, you're not getting out of here. So it was this cool sort of friction, this back and forth, where we saw the confusion of this older brother who wants the best for his younger brother, but at the same time understands the gravity of this alien threat that his brother may not. And I thought it was executed pretty well through Flint.
I have to say this, and I'll direct this directly to the writers. Who hurt you? And when I say who hurt you, I mean every single brother pairing in the show is at odds. It's as if one of the writers has a brother that they are distant from. They don't know their brother, and I want to know why. What's going on with them?
It would be nice to
like it'd be
see
nice two
some
brothers to just like each other.
Straightforward.
I like my brothers.
Yeah, straightforward sibling love. Do we get that from Max and Isabel?
I mean, we kind of do, but we also get a lot of harshness from them too. Siblings in this
It's a story
show
of this
all
show.
the way.
Yeah, the
Definitely.
siblings.
Siblings.
Rosa and Liz
Absolutely
don't get
true.
along until
Right.
Rosa's gone. Isabel and Max have a strong love for each other, but they don't always like each other. Max and Michael always fight. We get this version of Alex and Flint is actually a lesser version of what we saw with Max and Michael a couple episodes ago, where it's the we speak but we don't talk, and we talk but we don't discuss, and we discuss but we don't converse. We converse
Right.
but we don't. I mean, I want to understand why there's such a disconnect between all.
At
all
some
siblings.
point, can we get some sibling love, some loyalty?
Maybe
some
that's the
just
setup for the
additional-
finale.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's my brother. Love him. You know what I'm saying? Love that guy. He's great. Like something. So we get that. If Flint's coming off as this consummate soldier, any soldier would have known not to place the weapon directly on their opponent. Not even though he didn't know who it was. You would never get that close because that's an automatic removal, which is what we saw, what we specifically saw. Anyone who's an actually trained professional would know never to be that close.
I wondered
with a
if
weapon.
that was a stunt double or if Alex is that gangster and did the stunt himself.
I mean,
It was a
That was a good move, though.
Swift-
I mean,
I
that
would
looked
imagine
good.
it would be just Alex. I wouldn't think that they would need just a stunt double.
It was
for
swift.
That.
It was quick
It was
and it
supposed
looked,
to be.
yeah,
It was
professional.
done very well. It was done very well. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of Flint. He came off like a non-entity.
I felt like he came
They
off...
could have been strangers, and it would have been the same.
True. Yeah, they could have been.
He came off like he was supposed to. Just think about his role, his duty in his life. He is his father's son. His father trained him to protect what was there, and that's what
Sure.
he was doing as a soldier would.
I wish there was more of it. There wasn't enough dialogue where I got that sense. I felt that Flint could have just been another person. Flint could have easily simply been someone Alex had served with and did not help him when it came to his leg. And that could have been it, and it would have been the same. This could have been someone he knew in basic training, and I would have felt the same. There was no actual emotional connection to Flint, and I would have wanted that.
Yeah, they were very disconnected.
They were disconnected, and we as the audience were disconnected from them.
That's why he didn't seem so important.
And it left quickly. He's just like, get out of here, it's gonna explode.
Yeah.
But
Nothing else.
The disconnection to me added to Alex's character and showed him as the gem of the family. And had we gotten more of Flint or more emotion, more engagement, it wouldn't have made Alex stand out to me as much as a character.
Is this the last we hear of Flint?
Maybe not, but I don't think he's important in any sense.
If we get a season 2, do we hear more of Flint?
Yeah.
I think we will.
We have to. There has to be more to Flint. If this is all we got, then it was just a waste of a character. Let's talk about Isabel's heart-to-heart. Isabel has a heart-to-heart with Liz. Isabel has a heart-to-heart with Noah. Isabel has a heart-to-heart with Max.
With everyone.
Her heart-to-heart with Liz is what really
They're besties now, in a way, right?
Yeah, and what got to me, Liz really...
Thanks to Liz.
Yeah, Liz wanted to listen to her. And it was this moment where we've seen Liz's struggles all season. We've almost seen her as a victim in many situations. And it was a very real moment when Isabel's basically saying, oh, don't tell me you're here to just compare what I'm going through to your pain. And then Liz says, you're right, I know nothing what that feels like. And we really finally saw Liz as someone who wasn't always a victim and someone who now is in a place to really help someone. And she was more mature enough to take on that role and thought it was done well.
I agree. I think it's interesting to see them finally on the same page, right? Because they were feuding all season long. The thing about Isabel, she was kind of unlikable at times, but now I felt for the first time the last few episodes, she really has grown on me in a sense where we see like the emotional side of her we haven't. She's always had this wall, it seems like. And now we see her open up. We see the pain that she's going through with Noah. We see real emotions from her and her being open to different ideas and perspectives from others.
I'm going to have to go out on a disagreement limb and say that while you felt, George, that this was more reflective of Liz, I think Liz was the catalyst for their friendship, but this was more reflective of Isabel, and Isabel has a wall that's been up that we've never understood. This wall, which was kind of explained with the Noah conversation, but the wall is anytime someone's nice to her, she somehow throws out jabs. And she does this again when we see with Liz. When she says, how are you going to make this about you? And then undercuts a bunch of things she says. And Liz's patience climbs this wall and brings it down. So Noah brings up a part in the heart-to-heart with Noah where he basically says, the reason why I was able to get inside you, literally, figuratively, and metaphorically, is simply because every time something happens, you quit and run away, or you would basically zone out and you disconnected it. Exactly.
The cracks, right? And you say something about the cracks.
Exactly.
Yep.
So how did you feel about the heart-to-heart with Noah?
I didn't like it at all. Noah made me very uncomfortable with what he did to Isabel. You saw him manipulating her again. It's like, it's enough that you've used her as some killing tool.
But finally we got truth, though. Didn't we, George? Between them, like that unexplained kind of, they've been hiding stuff from each other, and we finally had this confrontational, truthful conversation, even though it was, as you're saying, it was kind of ugly or whatnot, but we finally got some real honesty, almost in a sense in a disagreement or, in a way, but that brought them together, but they finally aired out their laundry in a sense.
But him saying, we hid this really well, let's do it again, just pure manipulation and ugliness.
Loved it. I loved it, and I'll tell you why. Number one, something was very real about let's pretend and let's go back. Anyone who's been in this horrible situation and breakup has always wanted to pretend and go back. Let's take any affair or anything that happens. That's the concept. We're going to just go back to before this happened and pretend this never happened. And that pretending is so very real. I don't know. I thought it was a great conversation.
It's real, but you're pretending about two different things. So Isabel is simply hiding that she's an alien. Let's kind of rewind here. She's hiding that she's an alien because she doesn't know how Noah will receive it. On the other hand, Noah is using her to kill people.
I'm not justifying the action. I'm saying I understand without condoning the concept of whatever their reason for their breakup, the concept of let's just go back to pretending we were so good at it. It was such a powerful thing to say. And while it did come off manipulative, let's remember, in here you cannot lie. And so Noah was being as honest and sincere as possible. His sincerity is, I wish we could go back because that was a happy space for both of us when we were both wearing our mask. And that's the thing, the concept of persona. The persona is actually a Latin root word for mask. We wear these masks all the time of who we are and who we want the world to perceive us to be. It's very rare that we are actually our true inner selves. And I really liked seeing that exposure on both Isabel and Noah. Noah, sure, horrible person. Victim of circumstance, nature or nurture. We have to wait till the finale to find out. Heart to heart with Max. Jim.
The one between Noah and Max? Yeah.
Heart to heart between Isabel and Noah. And, of course, we will get to the Max and Noah at the end. Isabel and Max.
Here it is again. I mean, she sides with him. Obviously, she gives him the okay to kill off Noah. I felt that was pretty genuine from her, and she made her decision. I'm going with my brother. And she didn't stray away from what it's been like from day one. She was always going to pick him over anyone. And that's them bonding together in a moment, in a huge decisive moment where Michael's clearly not agreeing with this, as we see. And here them making a major decision on their own. They rather not have the answers, but they're going to make it together, that they rather have Noah gone, her husband.
You're right about that.
That's big. I thought it was huge.
Max does seem to make a lot of these decisions for everyone and think that's okay. There's no democratic process.
Right. We did see the sibling love from where she trusted to invite him into the communication.
Yep.
We saw that vulnerability that Jim spoke of earlier. And an alliance that we all agree was missing. We finally saw this trust, and then the whole "call me when he's dead" part.
Yeah, that was.
We see a ruthless Isabel, right? So here's the thing. Really, let's touch on this really quick. Is the Max and Noah confrontation? Max makes a decision. It's like, I'm gonna get the antidote, so it's not on you. We've seen this before, where they take the blame for a murder, so if Isabel can be comfortable with it. And Noah explains a couple things. Number one, that killing feels good, and Max does not disagree.
That was
and the
very
power.
telling.
And he's like,
His
didn't you like the power?
silence was very telling.
It was deafening. So then we also get the concept of what's going on with Max and Noah in this confrontation. Max is also showing a ruthless side that I didn't know he was capable of. This guy's being petty. You're gonna die lonely and miserable like you came in because you're not doing what I need you to do.
There was a definite coldness seen on Max's end. At the same time, after knowing everything you've been through, it's almost impossible from Max's perspective to have any sort of sympathy left for Noah. The only part that where I think they may agree is what Tehran mentioned about when he didn't say anything, when he said killing feels good. And it made me wonder, is this a survival of the fittest scenario? Is this an ecosystem? Are aliens at the top of this ecosystem and they have to feed off humans?
Well, I mean, we did get a bit of that when basically Noah says that's how I was able to sustain, is killing is what sustains my body. So we need to figure that out. So let's figure out, are aliens dangerous or not? Jim, yes or no?
I don't think so.
George?
I'm conflicted. I'm wondering now, do certain aliens in the lower class, the peasant class, if it was the caste system, the untouchables, are these aliens incapable of surviving without killing humans? Whereas the upper echelon, they had better pods, so maybe they could eat some filet mignon and some nice gourmet food and they're all good. But the lower class ones, because they're somewhat malnutritious from
a crash burger from Liz, right?
from the faulty pods, is this a necessity?
So we'll find out.
Yeah.
Let's touch on some quick things. Let's talk about Cam's sacrifice. Cam takes the blame, gets fired. I've always wondered about Max's work schedule. There's only 3 police officers and 2 of you are always gone. Let's talk about that. But Cam basically takes the blame for Max and firing her gun, and she is gone, and basically, as far as we know, gone from the show.
I could have cried. Cam is such a beautiful person.
Yeah, Cam's great.
She's such a beautiful person. She found out this guy she was dating was an alien. She watched him run off in a truck with another woman. And she still, after all that, she understood some of the atrocities going on, and she never folded. She stayed loyal to what she called her partner, which was great on the writer's end. Great writing.
Yeah, partner. And then Max,
what did that mean?
Friend.
Max goes, "You've been a great friend."
He friend-zoned her.
Even at the last second.
When she said partner.
Yeah, that meant everything.
It meant everything. And Cam, hats off to you. I hope to one day meet a friend or a partner.
I hope we get more Cam.
Like
Jim,
Cam.
Yeah.
what were your thoughts on
my
Cam's
girl's
sacrifice?
gone. I miss her. I mean, it was kind of unceremonious. She's contributed a lot, at least in the second half of the season. So
Sure.
for her to get an exit like that, it was kind of quick, and it was a quick scene and uneventful. I felt if she's really gone off the show, which I don't think she is. I think if there's a second season, I think she comes back halfway through. I think she still has unfinished business.
There's something. We'll find out.
Yeah, but for this, what it was today was kind of quick and unceremonious.
Another quick one, Mom. We met Michael's mom, at least. We don't know if Mom meant all three or just Michael, but what were your thoughts on the that heartfelt moment between the two?
It's a very moving scene. I was so happy for Michael. I felt like, although we're still waiting for the answers from Noah, I felt like Michael got all the answers he needed until he went crazy then.
He got closure, right?
Yeah,
I think he got closure.
He needed that, and I think now that he knows his mother loved him, he's going to be able to love others, i.e. he's going to be able to holistically love Alex.
Well, here we go. At the end of the very last scene, we have a standoff again between two brothers, Michael and Max, and a gun is drawn and someone's punched and the antidote rolls out and he grabs it and then a gun is drawn and we have this clash. What do you think's going to happen?
Oh, I think it just sets up them versus each other for the second season.
Always does, right? Always does.
It's a
We'll get
stand-up.
into that in predictions. Let's play Who You real quick. One line, the scene that represented you the most.
I actually know the scene that didn't represent me the most, and that's when Michael ran out on his mama. I would have stayed and died with my mother.
Wow,
Jim?
strong. I like the scene between Isabel and Noah. That truth talking. I thought that's a real scene that anyone can really resonate with.
Well, I really like the scene when Alex basically stays for Michael regardless and they leave together. That shows
A lot of good scenes today.
A lot of loyalty, and it
amazing.
was really good. Good scenes. News and gossip. If we can get a picture of Kyle Valenti on the screen.
boy.
I want to see a little bit of Kyle Valenti because Us Weekly is running an article right now about Kyle Valenti where they discuss Kyle going into the dark side. That's right, Kyle. We're going to get a lot more Kyle apparently. Michael Trevino discussed Kyle's dark path and it's coming to and what's to come in Us Weekly, which is a big deal. It's running an all up. And then
Roswell.
while we're in the talk, can I get Steph Sabra in the booth? Tell us something about the chat. It's the chat going crazy the way we are.
The chat is definitely in this tonight. I have some good comments from everyone. ED, this whole episode was so sad. Aliens who crashed got slaughtered. Survivors were experimented on for 71 years. Isabel was manipulated by Noah. Michael losing his mom. So much pain. Ivan Soto, Steph, can you tell Tehrani looks weird without his robe, LOL?
It's true.
Yes, I'd be honored to know.
Truth.
Ivan. Billie Jean Girl 24, the scene with Alex and Michael when the building was about to explode was emotional. It's hard to look at Tyler Blackburn when he has tears in his eyes.
Oof.
And Maven Cree, I think Noah was a prisoner on the ship and he sabotaged their ship. Then instead of saving even one of his people, he saves a defective pod instead.
Whoa.
Oh.
And the chat agrees that there
Interesting.
must be more aliens.
I think there are more aliens. I disagree with the Noah thing. I think that someone sabotaged it, but I don't think it was Noah. But we will find out more. Let's jump right into predictions. Give me 2 lines of your best predictions, George.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Predictions. Michael helped Noah, and now there's this divide between the crew. It's Michael, Noah versus everybody.
Jim.
Yeah, Michael versus Max, and Max is going to be on the apparent good side, and Michael is going to be on the bad side, but fighting for his own cause.
So you both think that Noah is saved?
Noah's safe.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, well, I guess we find out so much more next week. So we'll find out if Noah is safe, but where can people find you in the meantime until then? Season finale happening next week. George, where can
Find
they
me
find
on the
you?
gram at Mr. George Corey Turan. Spell the last name.
That's KHOURI. Jim?
At the Jim Alexander, realtalker.com. That's REEL.
That's how it goes. And of course, I am Tehran all across the board. IAMTEHRAN. Find me on the gram and Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff, and on a slew of AfterBuzz after shows as we discuss all things of the shows we love. However, for this show, Roswell, New Mexico, which we love so very much, we will see you guys same time next week, same Roswell, New Mexico channel. We will see you.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.